I don't feel like it's fair to bring up Antonia in that way. Okay, that whole bus ride, it was sad. I said it before, it was really, really sad. You know, Teresa and Melissa, they have gone at it for years. And none of them are none of them is completely innocent. Teresa, she's the original cast member. She is the OG of the franchise. She's the last one standing from the original cast. But Melissa, at this point, she is also a veteran. Okay? So I have to wonder, why are only Teresa's kids allowed to do confessionals to discuss her family drama, the family drama? Not so much Melania or Adriana or even Gabriella, except for this season when she spoke up, and I'll give my opinion about that in a moment. But I don't recall one single time in the 10 seasons that Melissa has been on the show where we see her kids say anything negative about her cousins, about their cousins or their aunt, Teresa. Not one time. Not one time. And if I'm wrong, please, just let me know. Just let me know, because I cannot recall one time. So if I'm wrong, just send me the footage, send me the recording, and then I'll stand corrected. But for now, I cannot recall one time. But I do remember this. I remember Gia saying to Jacqueline, "My uncle is cool, but Melissa kinds of control him." She must have been 7 or 8 years old when she said this. Okay, that was on the final episode of season 3. When Teresa was, basically on the outs. Like, it was starting, the tables were slowly turning at that point. Teresa was at her house. Jacqueline came for a visit. Then the big portrait came up. Teresa went in the garage to look for how do you call that again? Oh, I hate when that happens. What was she looking for? She was looking for, it's not coming to me. So she was looking to hang the big family portrait. And while she ran to the garage, Jacqueline was with Gia in the kitchen. And then she was like, "Oh, this is a beautiful picture. Are you happy to see everyone together, the family, everyone, your mom, your dad, your uncle, your aunt, your cousins?" And Gia's like, yeah, it's nice. I hope it stays. My uncle, he's cool, but Melissa kind of controls him. Right? Then there's the waking up in the morning song, at Melania's birthday party. Everyone is there. The Menzos are there. The Wakilis are there. The Loritas are there. And then Gia, she goes on and she starts singing that song. Melissa stinks. That was said by Melania in the car when both of her parents were there, and Gia too, and they all laughed. Mind you, Melania was like a young child, and nothing against Melania. I happen to like her very much on the show. But, she said that. So she heard it from somewhere. Melissa lip sync. On display, on display, on display. That was Gia in the limo with her parents. Melissa's a stripper. I'll climb the pole. That was funny though. But Melania said that. She said that on the bus with the Wakilis. I think Jacqueline was there too. Everyone was there pretty much. She was on the bus and she said that. So again, she got it from somewhere. Melissa laughed too. Like I said, it was kind of a funny moment, but nevertheless, right? On Teresa Checks In, Gia does a confessional, and she admits to, Melissa being there or trying to be there more for the girls while Teresa was away. But Gia says, I don't, she's called and texted and she tries, but I don't feel comfortable about it yet. Those were her words on Teresa Checks In Special. Don't let Melissa take Melania out of the blue moon. That's Gia, season 5. She's shopping with her mom, and she says this to her mother. And mind you, that was right after season 4, which was the stripper gate season. Okay, Melissa was trying to, arrange for the kids to see each other because Melania and Antonia are very close. So she's just like, listen, I don't want to send my kids over to her house because God forbid she would say something bad about, like, I don't want my kids to hear negative things about me, right? So she was just like, let's pick a place that is neutral. Maybe we can go to Sweet and Sassy and do something there, right, with the girls. But if you recall, that's what Gia says to her mom. She says, don't let her take Melania out of the blue moon, right? And then right after that, Teresa says, I've tried with Tio Joe. To which Gia responds, yeah, I know. It's not Tio Joe. It's Melissa. She's the problem. Gia was like maybe a tween at that point. Like she was like maybe, 11 years old at that point, right? Teresa saying, Gia knows that I don't give 2 shits about Melissa. So that's an admission that Teresa talks shit about Melissa to her kids. Because how would she know? She could know that there's a little bit of tension, but you admitted it yourself. Gia knows that I don't give 2 shits about her. Teresa also said, she admitted to Dr. V, and on another separate occasion, I think she was talking to Jacqueline, I can't remember, but she said Gia didn't even like Melissa in the beginnings. Those were Teresa's words. Again, using the kids, in the whole argument. Gia saying, Melissa is trying to make herself look like she's a good aunt. So that's Gia this season saying this to Gabriella. Gia calling her uncle an opportunist on social media, which he was. I already talked about that a few episodes ago. My episode, if a picture could make me look good or something like that, right? So yes, I totally believe that Joe was thirsty in that moment when he was encountering Joe Giudice in the Bahamas. But, Gia, she went online and she posted online, that her uncle was an opportunist. She didn't send him a message privately. She put it on social media. You're an opportunist. If your brother doesn't come to the wedding, it's done. It's a wrap. It's over with. Never speaking to you ever again. That was Melania this season while she was shopping for Teresa's dress. You know what my husband does? He takes the gift and he throws the gift that you bring for the kids, and he throws them in the garbage. That was Teresa. She said this to Melissa at the solstice party. Kim D was nearby. She was listening to the whole conversation. Teresa said this, my husband, and she even did the hand gesture. She said, my husband takes the gift for the kids and throws them in the garbage. We don't care about the presents that you buy for the kids. And Melissa was like, oh, very nice, right? Gia saying confronting her uncle Joe and Melissa and saying that, yeah, it's true. No, he complains about you guys. He says you don't call them enough. He says you don't visit them enough. You don't make enough time. Everybody works. Everybody's busy. You don't make the time. Only mommy, not you. And then Teresa says, thanks for sticking up for me. Because, it's Melissa and Joe against me. I need somebody in my corner. Thanks for speaking up, right? It's not fair. It's not. And Melissa was visibly uncomfortable with it, and she actually said it. Don't speak to your niece, speak to your sister, okay? Like, this is adult conversation. And Gia's like, it's not adult conversation, okay? I'm 20 years old. I understand what's going on, right? So I don't know. Do I need to say any more? And by the way, I'm going to add all of this recording, all of this audio in a separate recording today. You know, I'm still searching for Antonia, for Gino, for Joey. I'm still searching for something that they have said about Teresa on the show. And the truth is, I can't find anything. And I've said this before. I think I've addressed it quite a few times. I'm all for children speaking up and protecting their parents. So, you know, I'm not mad about Gia to protect Joe Giudice because, you know, Joe Gorga has said some pretty horrible things about Joe Giudice, and that's her dad. So I understand her standing up for him. And I understand her wanting to protect her mom as well. Everybody's going to be about their own. So I'm not mad about that, right? But what I can say is that over the years, whether it's an act or whether it's for real, Melissa has not done these things. Her kids have never, ever said anything on the show about Teresa. And that's their blood end. If one thing, you have little Joey, he's always said, I love everybody at this table, you know. I also remember him hugging onto Joe Giudice at his go-away party. You know, I also remember Melissa picking up the girls from Teresa's house so Teresa could go to her Fabellini party because she didn't have a babysitter that day. So Melissa came and, you know, she brought the kids again to Sweet and Sassy, and she bought them matching bracelets. She even bought one for Teresa. I also remember Melissa sticking up for Teresa when Jackie alluded that Teresa was probably having a good time on Joe while he was in prison. And Melissa said, you know, Teresa, I spoke with her about it, and she told me that nothing is going on, so there's no reason for me to question that. My sister-in-law is saying that nothing is going on, then nothing is going on. I remember that. I also remember that during the Teresa special, Melissa saying that her nieces are so good, they're so responsible, that, you know, Gia is a good kid and she's the oldest, obviously, but Gabriella is just, you know, just as valuable in the house. You know, cleaning up, setting up the table, doing the dishes. She has always given on TV props to the kids. You know, she always said positive things about them on the show, as she should, because kids are off limit. So yes, the whole Antonia thing, I think it was quite uncomfortable. Yes, Teresa didn't say anything like bad about Antonia, but she wasn't trying to portray her in a positive light by saying, well, we went to hers, she didn't come to ours. Listen, Teresa, you're getting married right now. You have 4 daughters. They're all part of your wedding. You have friends that are part of your wedding. I believe you have your other niece from Joe Giudice's side that was in the wedding. But your only blood niece, named after your mother, Antonia Gorga, you didn't ask her to be in your wedding. So yeah, a sweet 16, very important. They had a cheer competition. You know, obviously she couldn't miss it. I'm sure it was unfortunate that she couldn't attend your daughter's sweet 16. But you know what's unfortunate too? That you didn't pick your only blood niece to put her in your wedding. You didn't even think of her. You like to say, in an Italian family, well, you don't get to pick. when you're Italian and when you're not. I'm not Italian myself. I happen to know a lot of them. A lot of them are my friends. You know, and like I said before, my husband is Portuguese. So there's a lot of similarities there. So you may not stand Melissa and you don't want her in your wedding. And people like to say, it's her wedding. She can do whatever she wants. Yes, that's true. She can. But at the end of the day, stop saying it's all about family when you yourself do the wrong thing. You did not ask your only blood niece to be in your wedding. If you really want the family to be close, if you really want the cousins to be close, why didn't you ask her? And no, it's not tit for tat, but I'm just saying, if you're the better person, if you're in a better place in your life, if you have met the love of your life, if you're doing ayahuasca, if you're saying your namaste, if you're going to therapy, if you're doing all of these things, why aren't you doing the right thing? It's just easier to blame Melissa for everything. And for the people that like to ask me, are you not a Teresa fan anymore? Yes, I am. The answer to that question is yes. Like I said, it's not that deep. It's entertainment for me. But, and I don't think that me being a fan of Teresa will ever change. But I'm going to say this. I'm a fan. I'm not fanatical.